Namaskar, friends. Welcome to another podcast of ICPRD, India Center for Policy Research and Development. My name is Rajat Mishra, and I welcome you all on this historic day of Kargil Vijay Divas. And it is our great fortune that we are having Group Captain Vishwajit Kumar with us, who himself is a Kargil veteran and National Advisor for ICPRD on Aviation and Strategic Affairs. Most welcome, sir.
Thank you, Rajat. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, sir. So, sir, recently, annual financial statement, which is budget, was unveiled by Finance Minister, and we have seen that this time again the largest stake was given to Ministry of Defence of 6.2 lakh crore rupees, which is around 4.8% more than the previous year. So, as a general comment, will begin. How do you assess this particular budget and the next future of defence?
Yeah, Rajat, before moving on to your basic question of the latest budget with respect to the defense allocation, I would like to use this opportunity to pay homage to the brave soldiers, officers and men of our armed forces who laid down their lives during the Kargil operations. Now, coming to the budget per se, and with respect to the defense budget, which was approximately about 6.21 lakh crores, as you rightly said, there is an appreciation about percentage. It's a good budget. Even if you compare with the interim budget, which was given by the finance minister, there is an increase of about 400 crores in that. So I would say overall, it's a good budget. And also you need to look at it from the perspective how our neighboring countries are doing. If you look at the budget of our two major adversaries like China and Pakistan, so our budget is about 75 billion US dollars,
right,
in terms of dollars, and Chinese are about 230 billion dollars. So there is a huge gap. That is understandable. But from the way we have improved our budgetary allocation in the last few years,
right,
it's a good going, I would say, and it meets our immediate requirements and all the future acquisitions, which is part of the work in progress. So that way, it's a good budget. It takes care of all our acquisitions also. At the same time, the pay and pension bills of the defense personnel, and also the revenue budget for the routine maintenance and sustenance of the armed forces. So overall, I would say it's a good budget to meet all the three services requirement, Army, Navy and Air Force. And I see it is quite a balanced budget.
right,
And it's a way forward.
Okay, great. So let's delve a little deeper into specific allocations. BRO, which has done tremendous job in last few years, Border Road Organization, and allocation to that has been made 6,500 crore this time, which is 30% higher than the last year, which is again a great hike. And there are plans of new airfields in Ladakh, new bridges and strategic areas and highways in Arunachal Pradesh and Himachal Pradesh. So how do you assess the role of BRO in last few years and the future?
Rajat, as you know that post-independence, our infrastructure development in the border areas was not at a pace that we would have desired. Partially it was because of the policy which was in vogue at that point in time, that we did not want to develop infrastructure for whatever reasons, but which was not a welcome thing, but it was a fact. So we lagged behind. Having seen the rapid strides made by Chinese in developing their infrastructure bordering our border, we had no choice but to change our policy. Towards that, last few years allocation has been good, and this year's budget allocation about 6,500 crores that you are saying is a very good move. Basically because we have undertaken a few major infrastructure developments like massive tunnels that few are already operational, like Banihal, Rohtang, they are operational. Sela is operational. And the work in progress is Jojila, the few in Arunachal. So these kind of projects are extremely strategically important. They improve the mobility of the armed forces in times of need. And therefore, and looking at the terrain, which is a hilly terrain, so you need to have a greater, faster access, and that is possible only when we have good quality passes that circumvents the longer routes. So therefore, the money which is being spent on building road, passes, airport, ALGs, these are the major thrust which armed forces are taking up in Himalayan sector, bordering primarily China, and which, of course, the BRO being the nodal agency for all infrastructure development in border areas, they need to have this kind of budgetary support, and which I
Yes.
think is a welcome move by the government, welcome support to BRO. And I think the pace at which in last about 10 years that we have built up our infrastructure, and with this kind of budgetary support, I think it's a matter of time, maybe another 5 years time, that we will be reasonably good in terms of our quality of infrastructure in our Himalayan sector,
Right,
which is
sir.
which was the need of the hour, but for some reason we lagged behind, but we have caught up quite well, and in I think few years down the line, another 5 years or so, we should be reasonably well placed.
जी सर. सर अगर इसको हम एक्सटेंड करते हैं कुछ डिफरेंट साइड में, मॉडर्नाइजेशन की काफ़ी बात हो रही है, स्पेशली रिक्वायरमेंट है, और आप एयरफोर्स से आते हैं तो वहाँ हमेशा इसकी डिमांड बहुत ज़्यादा रहती है.
True.
इस टाइम बजट में 75% जो मॉडर्नाइजेशन का बजट है, जो अराउंड 1 लाख करोड़ का आता है, वो डोमेस्टिक कंपनीज को दिया जा रहा है. मतलब वो मॉडर्नाइज करेंगी, क्योंकि इंडियनाइजेशन का एक एम है जो गवर्नमेंट लेकर चल रही है. बट सर, एक दूसरा इसका काउंटर पार्ट आता है, जो अभी रिसेंटली वाइस चीफ हैं एयर मार्शल AP सिंह एयरफोर्स के ही, उन्होंने क्लेम किया था कि इंडियनाइजेशन के एफर्ट्स के कारण बहुत बार डिलेज हो रहे हैं प्रोक्योरमेंट में, और मॉडर्नाइजेशन का जो एफर्ट है वो डिलेड हो रहा है बाकी कंट्रीज के कंपैरिजन में. तो इन दोनों चीज़ों को आप किस तरह से देखते हैं, एक मॉडर्नाइजेशन का प्रोसेस और एक डोमेस्टिक प्रोक्योरमेंट और इंडियनाइजेशन का प्रोसेस?
Rajat, see, it is a question of how we balance both the aspects.
Sure.
You know it that few years back, till a few years back, we were known as the world's largest importer, which is not a very healthy tag to get for a country of our size, our economy. It was not a
And
good thing to hear.
capabilities.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, I would say that post-independence, we did not put as much focus, as much attention towards developing our indigenous capabilities in defense sector, and because of which we landed up with that kind of tag where we had no choice but to import the major substantial part of our equipment. Which, having said that, it had to come a time where we had to switch over from being an importer to our own manufacturer, and thereby becoming exporter in due course of time. Towards that, the last 10 years policy has really given good results, and as our honorable defense minister recently gave that figure, that we have almost crossed the figure of 30,000 crore in the last financial year in defense exports, which is a great achievement. And at this pace, I'm sure in a few years down the line, we will be able to meet our major requirements, and at the same time earn foreign exchange by being a exporter also in this sector. Having said that, the point that you raised regarding our Air Force Vice Chief raising the point of certain delays because of indigenization. Yes, I do agree. There would be for certain aspects, certain areas of high-end technology, where we would have no choice but to go for import because of the high-end technology, and which we don't have readily available within the country. So we'll have to do a balancing act between certain items, technology which has to be imported and which government has permitted. There are certain items, about 500 plus items, which has been made mandatorily to be manufactured within the country in joint venture and or local development, which is good for developing our capabilities, indigenous capability. But at the same time, government has provision also to import those technology where we don't have any other option. So a balancing act is being done. Vice Chief's concern is fairly okay, because there could be a few areas where things are a little tighter, but then government will surely look into those and take corrective actions. Right. So that's not a big issue. But overall, we have to look at it in a holistic manner, that few years down the line, the country will be in a better position, because defense, you cannot during times of war or any such exigencies, you cannot depend upon foreign supplier all the time. So you have to have your own indigenous development. That has to be there. You cannot wish it away in any way. So it's a welcome thrust that the present government has been giving for last 10 years. We have moved a lot, but we have miles to cover. And I'm confident with this kind of policy in place, the support the government is giving, our domestic market will be able to come to a stage where we'll meet our requirements, all three services requirement. At the same time, we can be a reasonably good exporter of defense weapons.
Right. So beyond defense and overall the adversaries, let's delve a little deeper into issues of and challenges of drugs, smuggling, terrorism, where because of our a large maritime boundary, Indian Coast Guard is facing a lot of it. And recently, we have seen in this particular budget, 6% hike was given to Indian Coast Guard, and around 3,500 crore rupees is to be incurred only for capital expenditure. So, do you see any specific reason for this hike and this particular allocation, and maybe more steps forward towards maritime security?
Yeah, absolutely, Rajat. It goes without saying that you need to have a robust security mechanism even in the coastal areas, not only within the inland. Basically, because as you know, India has got a very, very large coastal region, about 7,000 kilometers,
Right.
which is a huge area. And considering the kind of coastal area that we have, the distance that has to be covered, we have to have a very, very effective Coast Guard. And to make it the Coast Guard as a more effective, it has to be given equipments of speed in terms of fast patrol boats, helicopters, aircrafts for maritime security. And towards that, to plug any gaps, you've seen that Bombay attack, which happened basically because of foreign elements coming in and causing us that kind of damage.
Right.
So not to repeat those kind of tragedies again, we have no choice but to have a very, very strong and powerful Coast Guard to do surveillance of our coastal areas. They have raised a few escorts of ALH helicopters also, Dornier aircrafts also, and which is a work in progress.
Mm-hmm.
So towards that, this increased allocation for Coast Guard is a good sign, and which will ensure a better coastal security for our country. So it is a welcome move. We must appreciate.
Right. Yeah. Right. So, अगर इन सब के बियॉन्ड एक पॉलिटिकल इशू पर बात करें जिस पर अभी काफी अप्रोर हुआ था, जो कि अग्निपथ स्कीम या अग्निवीर स्कीम पर, तो बजट में इस पर कुछ खास बात नहीं हुई, मतलब इसका मेंशन भी नहीं किया गया. सो हाउ डू यू सी दिस पर्टिकुलर स्कीम, क्योंकि इसमें काफी कंट्रोवर्सीज हुई हैं, लोगों के ओपिनियन काफी डिफरेंट हैं, पोलराइज्ड पार्ट हैं. तो आपको क्या लगता है कि क्या इसमें कुछ चेंजेस की रिक्वायरमेंट है, कुछ मॉडिफिकेशंस की रिक्वायरमेंट है, और बजट में इसे बिल्कुल भी टच नहीं किया गया?
No, I think if you read the final details of the budget, I think there is a figure of 5,200 crores towards Agnipath scheme.
Okay.
It is mentioned there. Probably may have missed it. Having said that, you will appreciate that any change, major change that you bring in a system, there has to be certain criticism, certain support. So in a democratic country like ours, which is natural, we don't have to really feel bad about it. We have to only take it that it's something happening. Therefore, the people are either talking about it or criticizing it. I must say that the government of the day is seized of the matter, and the statements which our Honorable Defence Minister, Prime Minister, and all responsible members of the cabinet have given is that if there is something lacking in it, we are ready to look at it. So that's the positive outlook of the government of the day, and I'm sure whatever the purpose of getting Agniveer was to basically bring the age profile of our soldiers down, make them more younger and fitter, and that was basically a fallout of the various committees which were set up post Kargil, Sobranium committee, then latest one Sekatkar committees. All these committees, the recommendations have been towards bringing down the age profile of our fighting arm, the soldiers basically. So because of that, this Agniveer thing came up. Yes, as you will agree that no particular policy or a scheme can be perfect from the day one.
Right.
It's a work in progress. So yes, there are shortcomings which you and me, everybody is aware of it. People are talking about it, and few are a welcome suggestion.
Mhm.
And I'm sure government will look at it and correct those shortcomings in due course of time. Few of them which can be easily be collected is that only 25% of people being retained after 4 years.
Sure.
I think when senior officers have spoken and the government is also, I think, inclined towards it, in due course, probably we will see that it may be increased to about 75% or not to 50%, if not more,
Okay.
retention. And also the kind of absorption which has been already announced by Honorable Home Minister and the DGs of various CAPFs
Ji.
and Assam Rifle. So I think it will be a good balance that all those people who will be moving out of the service after 4 years of engagement will be absorbed by the paramilitary forces, which will be good for there because they will be a trained soldier. So
Right.
it makes the life of CAPF much easier. That they will get the trained soldiers for them.
Mhm.
So I think overall it is a good initiative, and with few changes in terms of retention, of increasing the retention in the armed forces and better absorption in the CAPF, and the monetary support is there. I think overall we will reach a stage very soon where it will be accepted by all.
Right, sir. So, talking about innovative policies, let's talk about innovations as well. In this budget for IDEX, which is innovations for defense exceptions, from 115 crore to 518 crore, around 400 crore extra money was allocated for this particular year, which is again a huge jump. So, how do you see overall startup and MSMEs, other than procurement part, the innovation part, and how Indian startups and Indian companies are innovating on defense sector?
See, Rajat, for any industry to basically blossom within the country, the most important aspect is research and development. And towards that, this IDEX approach, which is part of the Atal Innovation Mission, which is a very good initiative. Of course, the starting budget was much lesser, about 100 crore plus.
Right.
So now this year is much better, substantial allocation, which I think is a must for the defense industry, because overnight you cannot expect it to grow to the desired level that we want. Because firstly, it is a capital intensive. Then again, it's a technology intensive. So all these things require a good amount of research to come in, so that you get a product of world standard. Because if it is substandard, it will be of no use to the three services. So to get the startups in this field, this initiative of IDEX is a welcome initiative. It has given good results in last few years that we have seen it, and it is progressing very well. The reports from the three services talk very highly about it. And with the IDEX, with the startups and MSMEs, because these are the few brains at IITs and other such institution of repute within the country,
Right.
and also few such brains outside the country who wants to come in through IDEX route as a part of innovator. And I think in totality, these will combine to give us a good level of technology in all these fields, whether it is aviation, drones, or ground systems for the army, or the waterborne systems for the navy. Overall, it is required, and all these resources will pull in to make our domestic industry, defense industry, quite capable in years to come. Therefore, it's a welcome initiative, and the government's backing, increased backing in this year's budget, shows the positivity of the project, and it's moving in the right direction. I really appreciate this budget.
Right, sir. If we look in for indigenization and defense exports as well, obviously these type of initiatives and innovations
must.
are required.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Right. Thank you so much, sir, for having telling us a little bit more about the overall defense scenario and how this particular budget delve deeper into the requirements of Army, Navy, and Air Force, along with other forces.
Yeah, Rajat, as I said, any kind of budget support is only as good as how it is executed on ground.
Right.
And the kind of various initiatives, efforts towards modernization, towards indigenization, and most important part, the training.
Right.
The training is the man behind the machine, which is most important. So overall, all the three services, they know their way forward. they're very clear about what they have to do, and the government support through budget is the logical corollary to that kind of reaching the target. And I think in totality we have a good budget, and we'll have a good satisfactory level of modernization in the three armed forces.
Right.
Thank you, Rajat.
Thank you so much, sir.
My pleasure.
Friends, we were discussing about the defense budget with Group Captain Vishwajit Kumar, who is ICPRD's National Advisor on Aviation and Strategic Affairs. Thank you so much for listening to us. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Rajat.